Hi everybody, welcome back to another Pick a Card tarot reading. Today we're going to be exploring the message or the lesson that the universe has been trying to teach you. We're hopefully going to get it in more direct terms so you can take the lesson, learn it, and move on to the next thing. I know personally I've definitely had to relearn certain lessons over and over, and it gets a little frustrating, so hopefully this reading will kind of clear things up for you. So we have 3 different piles here, and instead of crystals today I thought I would use the sigils from my website. So here are 3 of the 12 sigils. I know a lot of people look at these and think automatically that they're zodiac signs, but then when they look closer they're like, these aren't any signs that I know. No, these are sigils that I created for the different aesthetics on my website, so you can explore those aesthetics. I put the link to my website down below, but we also have these stickers available if there's a specific aesthetic or even sigil that you're drawn to. So in pile 1 we have Voltage Royale. I'll show you up close. Pile 2, we have Geode Transcendence. And pile 3, we have Faded Orion. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time to decide which pile is calling to you. It's totally okay if more than one pile calls to you. You're welcome to watch any that you feel resonate. And yeah, without further ado, if you scroll to the description box below, you'll find the timestamps for the different piles, and you can jump right to the reading that calls to you. I'll see you there. Hi Group 1, if you picked the Voltage Royale sticker sigil, then this is your reading. So before we get started with the cards, I have this adorable little cauldron that's full of book recommendations, so I wanted to pull one. Shout out to my friend Emmy for making and decorating this adorable little cauldron for me. I love it so much, and I'm so glad that I get to use it today. So for you, Group 1, your book recommendation is My Friend Fear by Meera Lee Patel. This is a pretty short book, quick and easy to read, but very insightful. So definitely take a look at it. There's probably some messages in there or things to help you on your journey in learning the lesson the universe wants you to learn today. So for your astrological energy, we've got Neptunus, and let's get a secondary card. And Virgo. Alright, so first of all, Neptunus asks us to go deep. Really like examining the parts of ourselves that we might keep sort of at the back or hidden. And yeah, Neptune asks us to explore those, sort of like diving into the deep end. In terms of Virgo, Virgo is more about the idea of attention to detail. Virgos have a really close eye to things, and they're often seen as like meticulous perfectionists, but they're very insightful. So I think once you dive deep into whatever is sort of at the heart of the situations you're going through right now and examine it you're going to have a lot more insight. You're going to be able to structure things and understand them in clarity for what lessons they have to offer. And I think once you sort of go through this stage, you're going to be able to educate others. Virgos are, in my experience at least, great teachers. They can put really complex things into articulate words, I guess. And yeah, and they have the gift of like offering that knowledge, and they're often seen as like healers. So I think there is healing that can be done, but you're going to have to sort of dive deep into yourself, into the things that maybe you've buried, and that might be sort of what's coming up with different things in your life. You might have noticed repetition, or maybe things that are a little more triggering, and it's just bringing up things that you might have suppressed. And with this combination, it's kind of saying like, hey, now is the time to really harness that healing energy and go deep and confront those feelings, those experiences, and, you know, examine them so that you can grow. So with this combination specifically, you're going through your own, sorry if you can hear people working outside, I think they're taking the garbage out right now, but yeah, with Virgo, you have a really keen eye to look at things with a new perspective, sort of like an unbiased perspective, and you can separate things that are reality from illusion, and things that have kind of like taken their own shape over time and might be drifting from the core aspects of what you need to heal. You're able to look at it and sort of see like, this is the root of the problem, and everything else is just fluff getting in the way. So that is your strength here in the lesson that you are learning currently. The universe is trying to drive home the point that you have a lot of strength when it comes to your own healing. So we're going to pull some tarot cards now and expand on this idea and see maybe what it is exactly that the universe is trying to teach you. My goodness. Okay. Alright, so we have a lot of Pentacles cards coming out, but I wanted to start obviously with the Three of Wands. It was the first to make an appearance in your reading. So the Three of Wands here is an indication that you are progressing. You are moving forward, and you are constantly learning. And I think that's unsurprising, especially with the Virgo energy. There's a lot of teaching and learning and growing happening, a lot of healing, which I think is where you're going to notice a lot of progress, and the universe is helping you do that. So the Three of Wands also tends to indicate opportunities outside of your immediate surroundings. So this might mean sort of the cliche of going somewhere and finding yourself. But it could mean something like you have to step outside of your regular routines and comfort zone in order to sort of access a necessary type of healing and progress. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you are planning a trip or you recently went on a trip and found this kind of accelerated your growth or encouraged you to look deeper, then you're right on track. So with the Seven of Pentacles, this is the idea of putting time in for the long haul. It is an investment of time, energy. It's an investment in yourself. And I think you're looking at how the future is going to look like long term, and you're making changes that align with that. You are working to become sort of your higher self. And I think there's a lot of power in that, especially with the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. This is sort of like the movement forward, the progress. We're kind of seeing it laid out. So yeah, I think one of the main lessons that you're being taught right now is to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and make long-term plans. Because with the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, you sort of have this idea of like the hard work and consistency that you put in over time, and it is going to be work, but ultimately there's like wealth and success at the end. And this comes from like the discipline that you put into yourself and the focus, the attention to detail that we saw from Virgo earlier, and like going into that depth, understanding, I think, your core needs and the steps that you need to take in order to get there. This is a lot of growth, these last two cards here, which is fabulous to see. So we're gonna grab another oracle card. And this card is going to ask you some more specific questions. These are really great cards for journaling. If you're hoping to go deeper into your own psyche, and I mean, would be great for you for your healing. So we have the Apple. So for the Apple card, this asks, let's see, do you find yourself having forbidden feelings? Have you bitten off more than you can chew? Have you considered your core values? That was one of the things that we brought up at the very beginning with Neptunus, like really going deep, understanding your core values, your needs. Where do you fall? How far did you fall from the tree? And are you ripe to be picked? So the idea of how far did you fall from the tree, I think this relates also to sort of examining the past, examining your family, examining the influences of those around you, and as I'm saying this, the three of wands, that idea of going outside of your comfort zone, this might also mean exploring sort of an inner world that you're not necessarily used to, and the things that you have repressed. You're being invited to explore those with a critical eye. And I think the more you push against it, even though like it seems like it's gonna feel ugly to unpack things, I think you're going to realize that the more you like force against it is going to seem worse and worse than it actually is. So with the idea of the apple, you have the seeds in the center to like start something new. There's growth there, but you have to reach the core to access that energy. So that's where Neptunus comes in, and Virgo, like that diligence, especially with all the earth energy that we have here. You're going to put in the work. You're being encouraged to put in the work. That is the lesson of the universe right now. You are being asked to look at your core values and understand how those are going to help you progress, because it is an individual journey. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Group 1. Thank you so much for letting me read a quick little reading for you today. If you would like a more extensive, in-depth reading to maybe explore this topic or something else that came up, feel free to book a reading with me in the description box below. I would absolutely love to expand on this with you. So again, the book recommendation for you was My Friend Fear by Mira Lee Patel. So if you want to give that a read and let me know if there were any key messages for you in this reading, I would love to read that in the comments below. Alright, I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye! Hello, Group 2. If you picked the sigil for Geotranscendence, this is your reading on what lesson the universe is trying to teach you. So we're going to start off with this cute little cauldron of book recommendations that I threw together. So we're going to draw one, and the one that we pick likely has a message for you that'll support you on this journey. So the book recommendation you got was Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. So you can write that down, put it on your TBR list, and let me know in the comments below if there is something that you read in it that does relate to today's reading. I would absolutely love to know. So we're gonna get a general idea with the Astrological Oracle cards and see, and see sort of what energy you're in and what lessons might be coming from that. So we've got Saturnus, which is all about understanding boundaries and limitations. That's a big lesson I feel like a lot of people learn over and over. And Capricorn. So you might be a Capricorn, or you might just be carrying some Capricorn tendencies right now. And I think with this combination, it really looks like you might be putting a lot of your energy into work, maybe burning yourself out a little bit, not recognizing your needs and boundaries and limitations when it comes to your own productivity and your need for rest. I think that's a really big lesson to take away from these two cards in combination so far. Capricorn is very good generally at managing their time, but because they are so efficient, they tend to overwork. So just understanding that there is a need for balance, and burnout takes a long time to recover from. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. So one big idea with these two cards in combination is you have plenty of time to get the things that you want to accomplish done. Yeah, I think, like, it was actually one of my affirmations for 2022, that you have time to accomplish your goals. It doesn't have to be within a certain deadline or timeline. You know, the world is your oyster, and time is one of those things that it's like, yes, there are deadlines to things for work and stuff, but like in terms of your own goals and stuff, you don't need to have things done. Like no one expects you. I mean, there might be some expectation for you to be done certain things at different points, but like you need to go at your own pace. And I think the universe, through whatever kind of synchronicities or experiences you might have had lately, it's really trying to get that message across to you right now. So to further that, we're going to pull some tarot cards. Already have some jumping out. Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll get a couple more. This one wants to come out. Interesting. I'm gonna push those up. Oh boy. Okay, and one more. Thank you. Okay. So, a lot of really powerful energy coming through here. I know, group 2, that you are probably one of those people that just loves to acquire new knowledge. You love to continuously learn and take on new tasks, new ideas, and just run with it. I think you are being forced to understand that there are important things that, like, important messages your body might be signaling to you, and you're sort of just moving out of the state of mind where you're very in your headspace, very receptive to new ideas and planning and doing all these things, and you're coming into your body a little bit more, and you are understanding that there have been sort of moments in the past where your body, your spirit was communicating to you that it was time to take a break. These were limitations, and you maybe pushed past those boundaries, which wasn't the best option for you. And at the time, I know it probably felt like it was the only option, but you're being encouraged to look at your situations now and really examine what is necessary for you to put your time and energy into. So while you will have a lot of these ideas, keep in mind you do have time to accomplish them in the future. It doesn't have to be right away. And with the Three of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like the more you continue to take things on, the more isolated you're kind of becoming, because people aren't going to be able to keep up with you as much. And then when you reach burnout, you're going to be so far ahead that it's just not going to be sustainable for anyone to help you out at that point. So understanding pacing, limitation, and just balancing yourself is really, really important. And that's like a key lesson for you right now, because you are ultimately working alone. You're pouring all your energy into this, and it's time to like pour your energy into restoring yourself a little bit more. So moving on to the 2 major arcana cards. So these are kind of big for you. I feel like this is sort of driving home the point. You have the Emperor. So this is sort of an emphasis on structure. And this circles back to knowing your limitations. And it's interesting because the Emperor energy is often associated to Aries, which is sort of that like go, 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 starting new things energy, very much a leadership type role. And I think you have those qualities for sure. But I think right now you need to look at the structure of things, and you may have been sort of sent by the universe a figure in your life who reminds you of the things that you need, and really drives home the point of like giving yourself a break. Typically the Emperor represents like a masculine energy. This doesn't actually have to be a man at all, but just like an energetic presence that's reminding you that you need to sort of divide your time, have a structure, have a long-term sustainable kind of plan. Yeah, you have the power to make your dreams come true, as cheesy as that sounds, but like, you've got to pace yourself. You have your whole life. And the Hierophant is also kind of emphasizing I think the combination of the Emperor and the Hierophant puts into perspective the ways in which you are sort of going through the ins and outs of systems right now. You, like systems, establishments, institutions, you might be in school or just taking on a lot at work. And there is a need to nurture your, like the spiritual sides of yourself, and not necessarily in the case of like religion. I'm talking about like your need for recharge, your need to reconnect to yourself, like that deep inner version of you that's kind of been quieted by the need to work, which I totally understand. So yeah, understanding that, you know, you're going to be faced with a lot of things that burn you out, or maybe you're already in a place of burnout, and it's really important for you to work your way out of that, but not by working. It's more by resting. That's like the biggest thing that I'm seeing for you. Resting and taking time to really understand your own limitations. Okay, and we're gonna pull one last card for you. And this card is going to ask some important questions that you can use for reflection or journaling if you would like to take this reading into your own hands. Okay, so we have the Rose. So for the Rose card, it asks, have you appreciated the beauty in the world today? Are you feeling love and affection at the moment? Have you been cut by relationships before? Could you be growing close to someone? And what color rose best represents you? So I think for a lot of these aspects, the questions relate to your connection to the world, sort of the beauty, the peacefulness, that kind of thing. Very much like stop and smell the roses. You don't have to rush all the time. It's fine. And the question of, are you feeling love and affection at the moment? This, if you want to take the journaling step further, look at how feeling loved is nourishment for you, and how that might be something that is a factor for your recharging. Yeah, understanding the impact of your relationships, especially the relationship that you have with yourself and the relationship that you have with your work versus your like self-care, that kind of thing. Look at people who can support you, and yeah, get to know yourself a little bit more in terms of your needs and boundaries. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Group 2. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. If you would like to go more in depth or have a personal reading on something that maybe came to mind during this this general reading, feel free to book with me. I have my website and the link to my services in the description box below, and I would absolutely love to read for you. That is all for now, and I will see you next time. Bye! Hello, my Group 3s. If you picked the sigil sticker for Faded Orion, this is your reading. So we're going to be starting off by pulling a book recommendation from this cute little cauldron that my friend made me. Look at how pretty it is. Anyways, okay, so for your book recommendation, you got A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. This is, I'm warning you now, this is kind of a dense read. It took me a while to get through it, but it was really, really good and eye-opening. So there might be some messages in there that you need to hear in relation to the lessons that you're learning right now. So feel free to read through that book, and if there is something that resonates with you and relates to this reading, I would love to hear in the comments below, so feel free to come back to this video and leave a comment. So we're gonna get started with the Astrological Oracle and see what general energy you might be in and what information that has to, how it has to relate with the lessons that you're learning right now. So Jupiter, which is all about abundance and good luck, so that's good. I don't know if you're in a place where you're having a lot of luck, or if you're coming into it, or if this is just kind of the secret code of how to get there. And the Sun. So with these two cards in combination, I feel like there is an opportunity on its way. Something of big success that's going to potentially change your life. So you may have already learned a really important lesson, and this is kind of like the fruits of the labor. But we're gonna expand on it a little more. Ooh. With some tarot cards, obviously. So we've got the Six of Cups, in reverse. The Tower. We'll grab a couple more cards. Thank you. And thank you. Okay, so yeah, I think there was something in the past that maybe you were holding on to for a long time because you knew that there was something to be learned from it. So that's where the Six of Cups reverse comes in. And yeah, there's a bit of an attachment to the past, but I think you are learning to let go and welcome new energy, welcome new things in. And I think at this point you are realizing that when you do that, when there are things that impact you and sort of make change for the future, like it's inevitable, it might be sudden, it might be surprising, unexpected, maybe even painful with the Tower card here. Things have to fall apart to fall together, and I think you're learning that. And once you've sort of solidified that in your learning, fantastic things are going to come out of it. Like the opportunities, especially with like projecting into the future, the Seven of Cups, this indicates that you have a lot of choice. There's different avenues opening up for you, and there's like so much abundance, so many different ways your like trajectory could go. So I think this is like really exciting. It's like it's things that you had wished for previously coming to light, and you have the option. You have many choices coming up, and like so many good things coming to you. So the Queen of Swords in reverse. This might relate to the parts of yourself that you're holding on to, or you're sort of back and forth with this energy of like staying firm despite everything. And I think with this, it's important to realize that it is okay to have feelings. It is okay to have negative feelings towards the changes, especially with the Tower card. Like, even though it's making room for positive things to come your way, you know, it's totally okay for you to grieve. And like, don't shut down your emotional side, because you're in for a treat in terms of learning another lesson if you do. But yeah, I think with the Queen of Swords in reverse, this is a big indicator that it is okay to feel things. You're going to be going through an emotional phase. You might be letting go of who you were to welcome in who you're becoming, you know, and there is grief with that. There is big change, but the lesson here is that, you know, you do have to go through those periods in order to grow, for rebirth, you know. Huge change and success comes like seeing things for the first time. All this, like, all these opportunities open up for you when you shift, you know. When you shift, the world around you shifts. So you have to be willing to lean into it a little bit, because it is inevitably going to happen. So try not to hold on too tightly to the past, you know. Take what you need from it, Lean into the changes, even the sudden ones, but allow yourself allow yourself emotion, you know, allow yourself a reaction, a response, and sort of like shed that so that you can welcome all the new opportunities that are going to be presented to you. Yeah, I think one thing to note, especially with the Seven of Cups card, and Jupiter, while you're going to have a lot of positive opportunities, definitely still keep an eye out for things that seem too good to be true. Do some investigating on that. That might not be for everyone, but if it resonates on your journey, you know, consider it. So we're going to pull one final card for you, and this card is going to ask some key questions that you can journal about, or just reflect on for the duration of this video or going forward. And then we'll wrap up from there. So you got the grass. Just position this. So for the grass card, it asks, would you consider your grass to be healthy and green? Can you make changes to become more balanced? Do you fully appreciate the transience of life? Are you interconnected with nature? And have you got your garden under control? So, you know, if you want to take that and run with it in terms of your own journal reflection, in terms of your reading, would you consider your grass to be healthy and green? So this might be in relation to your own growth. Has your growth been healthy? Have you gotten a lot out of it? You know, a lot of success. This could also, like the idea of becoming balanced, you know, that can also lend to the emotional sense, of like not becoming too cold and stern with your own emotions. Do you appreciate the transience of life? I feel like this is one of the most key questions for your reading, because it's that idea of change and release, letting go, evolving, and we have a lot of you in the past, sudden changes and stuff, and how are you leaning into it? Are you feeling interconnected with nature? I'll let that one sit and resonate with you. And have you got your garden under control? So I think with that idea, that could relate to like your perspectives, but this could also relate to the opportunities and stuff that are coming your way and how you're going to manage them, making sure that you're not taking on too much. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Group 3. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. If you would like to expand on any ideas that came up in this reading, or you have your own ideas of readings that you would like to do personally, you can find the link to my services tab in the description box below, and you can book a personal reading with me. I would absolutely love to read your cards for you. So until next time, bye!